Hey y'all, it's me, Kay, and I'm here today. If y'all hear all that noise, I got the air conditioner on because I'm out here in the car. You know what? I'm just gonna tell y'all right now. This will not be my review of All American season 5 finale. I'm just gonna talk because I feel like I might have to shake the table a little bit about, about how I feel about the episode. No diss to none of the writers, no diss to none of the artists, none of the actors, none of that. But Marvel has made me this way. I'm gonna keep blaming Marvel because it's Marvel's fault. Not the new Marvel, not Phase 5 Marvel, but my Marvel 1 through 4 have made me a stickler about a story, okay? And details. I pay attention to everything, okay? Everything. And so, y'all. I just all over the place the way I feel. I'm not even gonna hold you this all over the place. Okay, but I do gotta start. Okay, so who do I want to start with? Okay, Asher. I'm gonna start with Asher because Asher is the character I ain't gonna say that I least care about, but like in relevance to what's going on in the story right now, Asher. There was a lot of chatter about Asher, and there was this whole proposal situation. Okay, it was up in the air about whose ring it was because everybody found the ring in the house. Everybody thought, last week we talked about if it was Asher and Jamie making the most sense, fine, okay? But I do feel like, shout out to Victor, shout out to Erica, and their reviews on the season or their lives or whatever. But some of their same thoughts, some of the same thoughts that I was having, like, people was coming up in the chat and I was just like, oh my God, I got to get out there and talk about it first because I'm pressed like a panini, and then I'll do my review later. But I feel like I was half and half on the episode. Like I was half and half. Like I was half like, okay, yes, and then on half I was like, no, absolutely not. Like we can't end the season like this. Y'all had 20 episodes for us to be at this point right here. No. Okay, so now that I got a little bit cooler in here, let me crack the window a little bit so some air can flow freely in here. Cause y'all, North Carolina is transitioning to its warm weather. But yeah, y'all. So, I didn't mind. Obviously, like from past episodes, we don't really care for JJ's father like that. But for this to be the first time meeting, that JJ is meeting, this is the first time JJ's father is meeting Jamie, and then it's to find out that Asher and Jamie is pregnant. I feel like it's not, necessarily the most realistic thing because he doesn't know her. So sometimes parents just be ecstatic because, oh, I got a grandbaby, but he didn't know her and it's his first year in school, and just with all of the backstory we know about Jamie working, Jamie is not currently working right now, and Asher does not seem to be having a paying gig. But let's not forget that all of them were rich, okay? The only one who didn't have the coin was Spencer. And so Asher, it was said Asher didn't have money, but now that Asher's mom has married that guy who got money, things just might be a little bit different. I don't necessarily think it was wise for Jamie and Asher to get married, but like if that was the case, a lot of people at 19 when they get pregnant, I ain't gonna say a lot of people, there are some instances where at the age of 19 when people get married, have children young, they get married young, and sometimes a lot of the times the marriage don't work out, and then that person may end up being in multiple marriages throughout their life. But in that aspect, I just feel like Jamie's sister, asking Asher or giving Asher a third degree was to be expected because that's her sister at the same time. But at the same time, like, Asher's father didn't need to ask Asher if it was his in front of Jamie. He should have just asked Asher that, like, to the side, not in front of Jamie, because then it implies that Jamie is a little, loose with it, and that's not the case. Like, that's not what we were shown on TV. So, moving on. Patience. I just feel like, I have been wanting a storyline for Patience for a while now, because I feel like Patience character was up in limbo, especially like her whole artist journey, and you know, her not knowing what she wants, or she's being hesitant about the industry because of people, the way people are overly critical about your image and every little thing that you do. But when they started adding the storyline with her having a stalker, I was like, okay, I could see this like turning into like a Empire like situation, you know what I'm saying? I don't think from Empire they had anybody that was obsessed, but I do remember Hakeem getting into it with a fan one time, and it led to Hakeem getting shot in the chest. And I could see, like, you know, where the storyline could go with Patience. Now, in the beginning, I was viewing Nico, or Miko, whatever her name was, as kind of like the girl that Layla had her relationship with when she was in rehab. But then when Layla was like, I could still see humanity in her eyes, I was like, okay, so Layla could clearly see that there was a clear difference between Miko and the girl who almost tried to make her jump off the cliff. But at the same time, it's just like, okay, well, here's what we was given. We was given that this girl had Patience's phone. We was given that we was given the information that the girl knew where they stayed at. We also was given the information that the girl tried to basically spam Patience's comments while Patience was on live the last episode. So we already knew that Patience did not have, we also knew that Patience got a new phone, and so the girl wasn't able to track her. But we was never given the information that the girl had any information on anybody else living in the house. We also did not know if the girl had ever ridden by the house before. We know she had something delivered to the house, so she had the address, but we never had any scenes where she, you know, was actively like trying to approach anywhere Patience lived at. It was giving, or at least it was assumed, at least by me, that, you know, when Patience cut the girl off, the girl would harm herself and not harm Patience. But immediately, I saw some people saying, bringing up the situation with Selena and her murderer. I was thinking about the other girl. I can't remember the artist's name, but the artist was up and coming, and I remember she was at a signing. I can't remember what state it was in. I want to say it was Texas, but it may not have been Texas, so don't take me word for word. But there was a young artist coming up. This probably happened in the last 10 years. There was a young artist coming up. She was at a signing, and then somebody, you know, unalived her. And the girl was very popular. I cannot remember her name, but if it comes back to me while I'm posting this video, I'm going to Google it and find her name. But it reminded me of that. But when they brought up Selena, I was like, exactly. That's another good example of how, like, that lady who unalived Selena was a part of she was president of Selena's fan club. And, like, she had interaction with all of Selena's fans, and she had a personal relationship with Selena. It was given the same thing, like, with Patience. It was literally the exact same thing, or very, very similar. And so for that girl to walk up and just, you know, hit Patience with the knife, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna hold you, I was not expecting that. I did kind of expect that girl to pop up at Patience's house, just like kind of like beg a little bit, like, I'm sorry, like, I'm sorry. But to do that, no, I was not. So, I was watching Erica's live, and somebody in the chat, or somebody that she popped in on the live, said something very interesting, and I agree. I love Chelsea. Do I want to see Patience's character leave the show? I do not, because she is an essential part of the vortex, because she's been there since the beginning. But in order to shake the table and to, like, put All American back in a place, they made this show, they made a big portion of the show be about living with no regrets after Billy perished. So, in order to shake the table, and for this to be like another valuable point to that, I think that if Patience was not to make it and she was to slide to the upper room, I would like to, it would be interesting to see how Coop and the rest of Vortex deal with the loss of Patience. Especially after Layla warned Patience, you know, about Miko. And Patience didn't really listen. There are a lot of other factors that we could have asked. For example, why did Patience open the door? Like, why didn't Patience look out the window? Like, you know, all these other factors. Like I said, had Miko been to the house before? Had Miko, you know, put a tracker on anything else that Patience have? Like, was she following Miko that whole day? We don't know. But I'm assuming these are details that we're going to find out at the beginning of season 6. So, yeah. Another way I think they could take the story is Patience makes it, but it's to the point where, like, Patience is medically out, like, in a coma for a minute. And it's to the point where they getting ready to pull the plug on Patience, and then Patience wakes up. And then, but I'm pretty sure that, well, I can't say that I'm pretty sure, but for the most part, I'm thinking, like, if Coop was on the way back to the house, Coop was on the way back to the house to talk to Patience because Spence texted Coop and was like, it's your turn. And I think I briefly mentioned in my last video, I was like, is All American trying to like tease us about, you know, is All American trying to tease us about Patience and Coop getting together or being together? And so I think, you know, just looking at the way it is, I was like, okay, so I was right. They was teasing them about being together. But at the same time, I feel like, you know, I'm just like, okay, well, if Coop gets to the house to get Patience, Coop is going to be the one to make sure Patience gets the medical attention. I can't see them getting rid of Patience, though. I just can't, because Coop is on the way. Coop is on the way. So I think Coop is going to find Patience, and Patience might be, like, out laying her blood, but I don't think she's going to be, like, passed out and unresponsive to the point where when Coop gets to her, I think she's still going to be able to talk to Coop, you know. Just like when Coop got shot, Preach was there, and Preach was able to talk to Coop while he got Coop to the hospital. So, yeah, y'all. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. Okay? But, yeah, so that's what I think is going to happen. Also, let's talk about Jordan before I get to Spencer and Olivia. In the beginning of this season, I was not here for Jordan getting with Layla, of course, because of what was going on with him and Simone. And then I became happy for Jordan and Layla because I'm just like, okay, well, their relationship is not causing any shakeups, you know. It's just a relationship, you know, like we seeing Jordan be with Layla, you know, especially after that workup of him, you know, going back and forth between Layla and Simone while he was with Simone, okay? Now tonight is where I switched gears. I was like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And if we're going to have this engagement go forward, what we need from the writers and from NK and everybody, there needs to be multiple, not just two, there needs to be multiple crossovers in the next seasons. I don't know if that's going to be able to be possible with what's going on in CW, but there needs to be crossovers because I need to know Simone's POV. Just like Simone should have been there when Billy went to the upper room instead of texting Jordan. That was a come home. That was a come home type of situation. Crossover. I need for there to be a crossover when I need for there to be a crossover when Simone finds out about I can't even think of their names no more. I just could not believe it, y'all. I just could not believe it. I just could not believe it. There needs to be a crossover between All American Homecoming. I'm sorry, y'all. It's a lot. Like, thoughts is just running. But like, yeah, there needs to be a crossover between All American Homecoming, because I need to know. Because honestly, like, for real, I don't think that they should have ended things between Jordan and Simone the way they did. I understand them being on a break, and I understand them breaking up, but there should have been some backseat moments. There should have been some backwards and forwards between Simone and Jordan, because Simone and Jordan were married. Simone and Jordan, like, they did a lot of, like, firsts with each other. Even though Jordan wasn't the father of Baby Shay, but Jordan was there for, like, the birth of Baby Shay and all of that. Like, they were close. They were married. Like, there should have been more interaction, for sure, between Jordan and Simone. Like, there should have been more. Like, she should have been, like, stuck. Instead of it being a thing between Damon and Lando, I would have been there for more of a moment between Damon and Jordan. Like, if she didn't know what she wanted to do, I think it should have been that way. I don't think it should have been, the way it was. Like, I just don't think it should have been. Like, for real. That's just my honest opinion. Like, I definitely think that Jordan and Simone should have had more of a backseat moment, because Layla was freaking Simone's bridesmaid. So how is it gonna look if Jordan messes around and gets married to Layla after he already was married to Simone? And why was there no questioning? Why did Layla not question Jordan? I mean, I know, like, at this point she loves Jordan. She told Jordan that she loves him. He told her that he loved her. But why has there been no questioning between Jordan and Layla? Why has Layla not questioned Jordan, even with the proposal? Like, before she said yes, she should have said, like, are you sure? I mean, you've already been through this before. Like, Simone, like, you and Simone got married. Like, this was just last year, you know what I'm saying? Like, you sure you want to move this fast? Like, this is a lot to take on, Jordan. Like, just express her concern before she said yes. Or maybe, next season, she will have this conversation with Jordan, before they decide to get married. Hopefully the wedding episode is not in season 6, because honestly and truthfully, like, at the tender age of 19, they should not be getting married. Like, Jordan can't even freaking start his sophomore year without proposing to somebody. Like, it's crazy. Like, now, I don't blame Jordan for being a hopeless romantic. I don't blame him for, like, wanting to be loved or have love or none of that. But, like, his story is moving very much so fast-paced. It's moving very fast-paced. Like, like, it's moving fast-paced. Like, him and Simone even was moving fast-paced. Like, they went and freaking eloped in Vegas, like, while she was, like, 8 or 9 months pregnant. Like, it's crazy. But last but not least, let's get to Spencer and Olivia. Unpopular opinion, I've been saying in my last couple of videos, I want Spencer with Kia. I do not want Spencer with Olivia. I feel like Kia knows Spencer more. They've been together. Like, even though Kia has been there for Spencer as a voice of reason plenty of times, but I'm just not here for that. I'm just not. I'm just not. But yeah, y'all. I was here for all of the, back and forth between not the back and forth, but I was here for all of the like sweet moments that Spencer and Olivia had in the episode. But at the same time, like all the callbacks to like when they first met, and stuff that they just been through, and that was meaningful moments while they was together. But at the same time, like Spencer and Olivia is not ready to be back together. They are not healed individuals. Like Spencer is still working on himself. Liv is still working on herself. And I just feel like, especially with Liv, like I be feeling like Liv have too much going on to be trying to be with Spencer. She too controlling of the situation. Like she just all over the place with me in terms of like her relationship with Spencer, because at times she wants Spencer and at times she wants other things. And Spencer is always willing to sacrifice for Liv. Spencer is just willing to sacrifice for anybody. And then just like for Liv to go through all of this. I mean, she did make sure Spencer was straight at some points throughout the season, especially when he was downward spiraling. But like at the same time, like Spencer has been there way more than Liv has been for him. And then I mean, don't get me wrong, Daniel and Samantha have excellent chemistry on screen. There's no doubt about that. Like, that moment in the airport was like it for me. But I'm just like, Spencer had told her a couple episodes, and I'm gonna go back and watch the episode again just to make sure like I ain't wilding. But like, Spencer had told her a couple episodes ago like he owed her a conversation, and I just don't feel like that conversation or the talk in the airport was the conversation. I feel like there needed to be way more conversation than that. Just way more conversation than that, because like they needed to talk about what went wrong the first time. They just need to talk about what went wrong the first time in order to properly get back together, in order for this next turnaround, this next go round to be more successful. I need for y'all to talk about what happened the first time. Like, I need for Liv to be honest and be honest with Spencer. Like, this is how she felt, not just I love yous. You know what I'm saying? Because this is a drama. You know what I'm saying? And we know that things are gonna happen, but also we need to bring conversation to the drama. There needs to be conversation, just like there needs to be a conversation between Patience and Coop, which I'm sure we might get next season. Hopefully we do. But I don't mind everybody being in couples, because they are at that age where you're dating and you're entertaining different people. You may be going through your thought phase. You know what I'm saying? It just happens at 18 and 19, especially when you're in college or when you're in school. But like, 3 months, maybe in the 3 months that Liv is across the water, she'll think about some things, and her and Spencer will talk, while they're across season. Maybe they'll have a conversation then. And then maybe in the 3 months, Spencer will get himself together, with football and his academics and everything. And hopefully next season we get more of their college life, because they will be sophomores in college. So there's just much more development that needs to happen between Spencer and Olivia, and their experiences at school and everything else like that. It just more needs to happen. More needs to happen. So yeah, y'all, I don't want to make my video too long. These were just my thoughts right now, why they were fresh on my mind, why my mind clearly was running all over the place. But I will come back with a review or a recap or whatever of the finale, and then I'll probably give some more of my thoughts based off of the things I see. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe. I'll be back with more. Deuces.